This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome back to Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. I'm Cody, and with me are Kyle and Ken.
Hello.
Prepare to feel the wrath of man. Friday.
Friday. It's opening today.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Exciting
had some
stuff.
early shows last night. We got more locations opening each week.
Yeah.
And United Artists went very wide with this one.
This was good.
Yeah.
I got it at a lot of places.
Yeah.
Another happy Friday.
Yeah, very few denied. It was awesome.
Yeah, we targeted really well, too, so that helped. I
Yeah.
don't want to toot my own horn, but,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
No,
but
we
I
deserve
knew
this.
where it was going.
We deserve this. Pat yourselves on the back.
No,
Yeah.
United Artists really
Stepped
hasn't
up.
had anything.
Right.
I mean, we had the Snow Hollow thing that went 0 places.
Right.
What was it? Yuba County that went 0 places.
Uh-oh. Do I have to take him off my shit list then?
Bill and Ted
I
that
would
went
say so.
VOD day and date. We're getting a window.
Ready? Off my shit list.
Yeah, even the
Welcome
terms,
back, guys.
Yeah.
Even the terms were good. Like everything all around really worked for this. And it's got Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Who can say no to that? It looks really good. Like, I can't wait to be able to check it out in theaters. Our theater here finally opened, so I'm for sure going to make time to go out
Right.
and see that.
We'll have to talk about it next week.
Yes.
We're going to have to find the version that bleeps things out for Kyle. So there's no efforts.
My virgin ears.
Been so long.
I
Did
won't
this
be used to it.
good Mickey Mouse Kyle.
Yes, that was a Mickey Mouse impression and totally not how I sound.
So we just got a quick podcast for you guys this week. We are going to go through a little release schedule changes, just a couple. And then we got to talk about all these movies still being sold to streamers. Sony, you're in
don't
trouble.
like it.
I'll go over a couple booking strategies. We got an SVOG update, and we got to talk Cinemark. Gosh, Cinemark, you might have screwed us. I thought you were going to be our savior.
They dropped quite the news today.
Yeah. So let's get into it. The only one I really, for upcoming release schedule changes that I want to talk about is The Night House. It moved back from July 16th to August 20th. So that was the biggest move. All the other moves we saw were just kind of 1 week shuffles. So nothing too big there. But that Night House moving back from July 16th to August 20th was a big move.
Yeah, I love all these 1 week adjustments starting in August, January, and January.
Yeah.
It just turned May.
It's a lot better, at least, than the times we've had before where it's like, this movie moved 6 months back. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, like Morbius moved back a week from the 21st of January 22 to the 28th of January.
Yeah, it's just little stuff like that at this point. There's not too big of shufflings, but hopefully that does stick.
Yeah.
But even still, I don't think we have to worry quite yet, guys.
So-
it's only May.
So I'm feeling really good about the release schedule.
No, these
And-
are great. And Searchlight is...
And I'm knocking on tons of wood, but I just requested dates for June, guys.
We're going to have a summer.
We're gonna have a summer, and I'm gonna be on
is
top of it.
exciting.
I know. I've got my May pretty much requested and booked out, and I did my first week in June today. Oh, felt so good.
I mean, imagine how theaters feel having like a slate of movies that seems legit.
Well, looking at their
promising.
booking sheet and seeing booked.
Yeah.
It's like, now, I mean, barring anything catastrophic from happening, I'm feeling really good. I don't
Why would
want to
you
jinx
say
anything. Knock on wood. I know.
You can only say it so many
just-
times. It's like Beetlejuice.
I'm just so scared,
Oh
but
my
I'm
God,
so
he said the
excited.
word.
Yeah. But you know, we're not without changes to the release schedule, and the biggest one that happened this week was Sony selling Cinderella to Netflix. Right? It was
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay,
No,
one
Netflix
of those.
was good this week.
Okay.
They gave us dates for
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead, and
That's
they didn't
right.
buy any movies from film
Yeah.
companies, at least that we know of.
At
Not
least
on the
that we
shit
know
list
of.
this week.
Yeah. So I wasn't like surprised that Sony did something with Cinderella because they moved up Escape Room to the dates the same date as Cinderella, so you knew something was happening with that. But to sell it. I thought that they had made a big deal about how this was going to be a possible new franchise for them, and it was going to be a bigger film, and it was going to stay in theaters. And I remember all of these conversations earlier in last year when they did keep moving it back, and now here we are, and they've sold it. It's just infuriating.
It must have been a good lump sum of money where Sony threw all of those statements out the window and were like, yeah, we'll give you Cinderella.
Right. Well, it's just any of their new original one-off content seems to be on the chopping block for this.
Right.
Or anything that they acquired that wasn't a franchise film.
Got to hold on to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Got to hold on to Morbius. Got to hold on to Venom.
And you got to
So
hold on to
Spider-Man.
Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're just
Ghostbusters.
in
That's still
the
safe.
you're just in the realm of sequels and remakes. You're not all
That's
the
the
original
business, man.
content is going to streaming, and that's just
It's
that
annoying.
sucks.
Yeah, and it definitely will make people want to go to the movie theaters even less, I feel like, because after a while, sequels and reboots just get tiresome. At least with Cinderella, it would probably look different. Like, we know the story of Cinderella, we've seen it before, but at least under Sony instead of like Disney, it would have been something a lot more different. Like, it would have been familiar, but it would have been the right amount of uniqueness.
Yes. Yeah, just like their Mitchells versus Machines. We watched that at home, and that was one we really wish we would have
It's
taken the
so
kids.
good.
Yeah, we wish we could have taken the kids to the theater. It was so good, action-packed. The animation was amazing. That was definitely meant to be in the theater on the big screen
Good themes for
animation.
kids.
And it was just so much different than even Raya, Croods, Tom and
yeah.
Jerry. even
That
though Tom and
rubbery
Jerry-
CGI that we
Well,
see.
just the
Right.
same. I mean, Raya, beautiful.
Yeah.
Croods did what it needed to do and played 200 weeks.
Right.
Tom and Jerry was a great stopgap, but this was something different. I mean, it's Sony, but it was like Spider-Verse,
It
where it
felt
was
so much
there
like
was going to be
Spider-Verse.
these Academy Award things
Yeah.
around it because the animation was so different.
And the story was really good. I mean, it had a unique original story to it that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
I don't know. We really, really enjoyed it. The kids laughed out loud during it. It was
I laughed out loud too.
it was an awesome and it was just sad that we were at home watching it and not in the theater, because it would have been
Absolutely.
10 times better in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it stinks that Sony sold that to Netflix, and it really stinks that, they sold Cinderella because, I mean, like you were saying, Cody, it makes sense, like them, or at least it seems like now that they are only removing like original stuff off the theatrical slate to streaming, but we were really hoping that Cinderella would at least be the exception. And
Right.
if Cinderella's not the exception, then I don't know, maybe something else outside of, maybe even like a remake or a reboot or a
Might be
franchise
next.
thing might be next. I'm hoping not, but after Cinderella, now I'm very worried.
So we also had Bios with Tom Hanks sold to Apple from Universal.
Yep.
Tom
and-
freaking Hanks, are you
I
kidding
know.
me?
I feel so
A
bad
Spielberg
that
movie too. I think Spielberg produced
we've
it
lost
as well.
67% of the Tom Hanks films
Right.
in the
Yeah.
last 12 months.
Yeah. Remember when Tom Hanks had like a statement of like, I really wish that these movies weren't going to streaming, but I have no say in the matter. Meanwhile,
I wonder what
another
that,
one of
another
his.
one by
I wonder what
Seduct.
that Apple check looked like for Greyhound.
Oh,
Yeah.
It had to have been
Imagine.
ridiculous.
Imagine the check
It's like, this is a down payment on your next 3 films as well.
Right.
that we will also buy from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a bummer too. I mean, who knows how successful it would have been? It seems like Tom Hanks movies outside of Toy Story nowadays don't really do business, but
Well, this is going to be weird, like Cloud Atlas or something. Like, This is
Yeah.
going to be out there.
yeah, exactly. So
But it's Tom freaking Hanks.
exactly. It still stinks no matter what.
And then the last one we heard about was Infinite, moving out of theatrical onto Paramount Plus. It's staying within Paramount, but it's just moving to Paramount Plus.
Mark
Yeah.
freaking Wahlberg.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg sci-fi movie sounded cool. Mark Wahlberg's always great, but yeah, that just it just stinks.
Were there transforming robots in it?
I imagine so somewhere.
God, we needed that one.
Darn it. And then as far as any like booking strategies, I got product, baby.
booking new movies.
I got booking new movies. I have at least starting out after May 28th, Memorial Weekend, I've got one new major theatrical release a week. At least one, sometimes two.
We have
It is
multiples until July 9th.
June.
Yeah.
June will be the first month that I will, since the pandemic, that I will have had a new movie booked at the majority of my locations every week. It is the first time that's happened. May is not even like that because there's no major wide releases May 21st. So even May's kind of starting that way, but June, that's the first time I'll see it happen, and it feels so good.
I'm really hoping during this stretch that the whole industry just sees better and better numbers each weekend climbing when it comes to like box office grosses. I'm really hoping that as things, get better in America and more theaters are able to open up, that we really start seeing great movies being released and people going to those great movies.
Yep.
I'm really hoping that's what we're about to see here.
Time to get vaxxed and waxed.
Vaxxed and waxed.
It's summer at the movies.
That's my motto this summer. Vaxxed and waxed.
Oh, we know.
Guys, I got my second vaccination too. So
Congratulations. Welcome
I
to the
am
club.
halfway to my motto. Still cold here in Montana.
Yeah, we don't have summer quite yet. That's not going to come until September. Oh, wait, no, it's fall by then.
Yeah.
Winter.
Yeah. We get a solid 12 weeks of summer.
I get June, July, and August, and that's it.
That's about it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
It's the first week we have without any snow in the forecast.
It's true. And even still tomorrow.
And it's May.
And even still tomorrow, it looks a little sketchy when it comes to winter.
I know. I wore sandals today, and another person in the office was like, "Oh, it's going to snow tomorrow then because you took the effort to wear sandals today."
Yep.
I'm
God darn
wearing my
it.
boat shoes, Miami Vice style.
Yeah, we call them boat shoes, not yacht shoes. We're not yacht people. We can't afford that.
No, these
No,
may be
no.
these may
we
be
are just boat
these
people.
might be John boat shoes. No motor.
No
just
rowboat
oars.
shoes.
Still classy. At least you have a boat.
Oh. Speaking of boats,
Yeah.
no, there's nothing to do with boats. We had this update with spiral ticketing.
Oh yeah, we got to mention this because I think it's dumb. Lionsgate, this is really dumb.
Oh,
They
boy.
want so Spiral was always originally titled Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Yeah.
And now they have wanting you to switch it for advanced tickets to Spiral Saw. And that's it. And it's just like they're trying to make it another Saw movie. But what I found talking to everybody is that they don't want another Saw movie because it's like Saw 10 or something ridiculous. And so it was actually like a negative that Spiral was a Saw related movie. I was like, well, this is much different. This is from the Book of Saw. This is kind of in the Saw universe, but this is a completely different story. And the fact that Lionsgate now is trying to shove in this Saw, I don't think that that's helping. Lionsgate thinks this will help. Lionsgate thinks that more advanced tickets will be bought for Spiral because you add the word Saw right behind it. So I'm like, what are you doing? Trying to trick people into thinking they're just getting another Saw movie?
I would think they'd be better off doing Spiral, Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Like just breaking the fourth wall with their film title.
It's their movie.
Yeah, because that's
Carrie
what's
Yules
selling
is not
it.
in this one. The creepy Saw guy is still though.
Somehow we think.
He's-
But yeah,
he's-
that's what's
he's
selling
listed as the
it.
cast.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, then he's in it.
There you go.
Anyways, so if you want to change it in your ticketing to Spiral Saw, Lionsgate like you to do this. I just think that people aren't buying advanced tickets right now. That they're out of the habit, that they're unsure if their local theater is even open, and that they want to see what, I think there's still some very cautious people out there that don't want to go when there's a mad rush. So they're not going to buy advanced tickets for opening night. They're going to go midweek and when they think it's died down a little bit and have more space in the theater. I don't feel like there's that rush anymore and that people want to be a part of that rush.
The one and only exception since last year has been Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
The one and only exception.
But that's with a diehard fan base.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I don't know if the Saw franchise has.
And that fan base is
Right.
online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the only time this has worked so far. We'll get back to that, especially with Vaxxed and Waxed June.
Yeah.
But Cody just shimmied her shoulders.
I
when
did.
said
I got
that.
excited. Woohoo! Waxed and waxed.
Especially
I gotta
with
get cocktailed up.
especially with that upcoming. But it's not now. It's not for the next
Yeah.
five major releases, not for the next 10, 20, but it will be soon, but
right.
it's not now.
And changing your online ticketing to Spiral Saw is not going to up those ticket sales that much. People are still going to come to it. It's still going to be successful.
Yeah.
We're not worried about advanced tickets right now.
And
We're just worried about
Tickets
in general being sold.
And both titles still have the word Saw in it. Like it's not going
Right.
to make too much of a difference if you have from the book of.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. So I don't really have that much of a complaint for it because it's still saying that it's part of the Saw franchise or whatever, or is it in some way involves like the Saw character or whatever.
It's dumb.
So
We're 1 week out from its release date, though.
they should
And
have notified of this sooner.
Yeah, if that was going to be the title, all the posters say from the Book of Saw. All of the other digital marketing says from the Book of Saw.
Lionsgate did say that we do not need to change anything when it comes to like one sheets or marketing
Right.
assets for the title, but just for advanced ticketing, they wanted
Yeah.
to be Spiral Saw. But even still, you're right. Like at that point, it's like what difference does it make that much?
If you don't know that Spiral is not from the Saw universe at this point, you're probably not interested in this movie.
If you don't see the Spiral logo that's behind
Yeah.
Chris Rock, it's probably not a movie people want to go to anyway.
Right.
So.
This is not your franchise.
Sure.
Yeah. And if you want to spend your time writing press releases and getting theaters to change the name of ticketing for their system, how about you just spend time advertising
Right.
online, social media,
Yeah.
contacting people who may be interested, people who went to other films of the horror genre.
Went to other Saw movies, all
Yeah.
200 of them.
There's so many other avenues available to get
Better
this done.
time spent.
Yep, exactly.
So, moving on from that dumb move from Lionsgate, we have the SVOG update. We should get into that real quick.
Okay.
Not a lot has changed on that front, but SBA did send out a email. I'm sure everybody got it, but I thought it was interesting. They said they received 10,000 applications so far. And of those, only 1,300 were from motion picture operators. And I feel like that's low. I feel like that should be higher. So, people should get into that. Most of them, 4,000 of them were first priority, and another 4,000, a little less than that, first 4,000 were second priority. So the bulk of people knew they were either in first or second priority. And then there were a few stragglers that were in third priority. The total request for the money adjusts if you deducted the PPP out, because a lot of people did take a second draw of PPP, was $9 billion. And $4 billion are considered first priority and $2 billion are considered second. And then there's another $2.9 billion considered for third priority. So there should be enough money for everybody to go around. The loan officers, the people reviewing the application, will reach out to applicants as their application is evaluated. So, and they think that they might have this starting by the 11th, I think. And if you remember from our first or a podcast, maybe last week or the week before, we talked about that DUNS +4 number and how I said some clients were just putting 4 zeros because they didn't have the second account. SBA is saying that that's what you should have done. So good job for you guys. You guessed correctly out of nowhere. Somehow you managed to get that correct.
They cracked the code.
So I was just very proud of those clients.
Yeah,
actually.
if you put
Round of applause.
1, 2, 3, 4 or 6, 9, 6, 9, you made a mistake.
You made a mistake, but 4 zeros, you did good job.
Nailed
good
it.
job.
That's unreal.
Then they just had some things like the trash icon is not working properly. If the entity opened after January 2019, the grant amount is not calculating correctly. So they still are having some issues with the site and the portal, uploading stuff. And then let's see if there's one more. If upload new files after submission, it will change my place in line. They don't think so. But so if you somehow added some files after you'd already submitted, they don't think it'll take out your place in line. But anyways, I just thought everybody should know they are wading through it. And then NATO would like everybody to remind everybody that they did change the EIDL so that you could increase your loan amount up to $500,000. So if you want to take out more EIDL loan, you can increase it from 150 to a possible 500. I think the $500,000 is the cap max on those loans, but I think that what they're going to do is take 24 months of loss, and so you can increase your loan amounts.
500 large.
Yeah,
That could be pretty useful.
yeah. So
Pretty nice.
check that out. And they were hoping to have a lot of the applications, I think, either done or started to be done by May 11th. I saw that date somewhere, but I thought it was in this email, but it doesn't look like it is. So I know that was like a point in time where stuff should be starting to be at least reviewed or the first round done. So hopefully that means that we'll get money before the end of May. I really didn't think so. I almost laughed at a client when they said they were hoping to get their money by May 28th. And I was like, it's the government. We were supposed to have this, this grant in January, but maybe we will get our money soon. So hopefully that's the case.
I like that upbeat attitude that they had, though. That's what we need in these
Yeah.
times.
I know. What is wrong with me that I'm like, no.
It's the IRS has been around forever, and only in like the last 5 years have they started with direct deposits. So it's
fair to question.
This is a brand new system. So it'll only take 300 years for them to figure it out.
At least 300 years. There's still hope.
There's still hope.
For this one-time grant.
Right.
So as we move forward and we get our SVOG money and we hopefully recover from this crazy year we've had, the big thing that we will constantly be battling is windowing. I mean, the windowing is going to be the single most important thing for our industry moving forward. And today, Cinemark just announced that they agreed with the 5 majors for a shorter window, and their window is at 21 days. And then unless the movie grosses 50 million or more opening weekend, then they get 31 days. And
Yay.
I'm
No.
like, oh, Cinemark.
WB says 45 days. Paramount says 45 days.
We'll give you 31.
Cinemark negotiates for less than they've already been promised.
Right.
Cinemark must have lost
I thought-
money.
Well, I'm sure they did. All the majors lost money, but Cinemark didn't lose as much as everybody else. So they were in a
Not
strong...
as much as like AMC.
Yeah, they were in a much stronger position. And we already had Paramount and Warner's coming out saying 45 days. Why on earth would you negotiate a shorter deal unless you were getting profit share? And it's bullshit.
Which
because
they probably are.
Because independents aren't getting profit share.
Yep.
They're only profit sharing the top 3. And maybe the next couple circuits down, like Harkins or Marcus.
Yeah.
But they're not profit sharing independents. And so here we are, the big guy gets to negotiate a profit share, shorten the window down that affects everybody, and gets to walk away like nothing happened. It just, I took United Artists off Cinemark on my shit list. Fuck them for this.
Yeah, this is really irritating because it finally felt like we were at a point to where everyone in the industry can agree on a shorter window and a fair shorter window. Like 45 days, it's not perfect, but it's doable.
It was super doable.
It can work for the studio side of things, for the theater side of things, even for the consumer side of things. But Cinemark really kind of, in a way, screwed over the rest of the industry. And now a lot of these studios are going to come to all these other corporate theaters and all to the other majors, and they're going to be saying, hey, we want to do the same thing with you guys. And honestly, they might have to cave as well. Yeah. Because they're almost in a similar boat, if not more so, as Cinemark is.
No, because they lost more money than Cinemark did. Yep. And you know what really galls me? What really galls me is
use the word gall now, but you used the F word a while back.
Yeah. Is this 50 million mark? Like, come on, Cinemark. Our industry was nearly destroyed, and you really think that films are going to be opening to $50 million?
Yes. Let's think about this. Like, even a surprise hit at the movie theater pre-pandemic didn't make 50 million opening weekend.
We went through that on one of the podcasts. It was only a handful of titles that actually made that mark, and they didn't last in the marketplace for very long. That was usually a big flash in the pan opening weekend and then die out 3 weeks later.
Yeah, which is why they want that 3-week window pretty much in the first place. Like, think of a movie like Crazy Rich Asians, The Greatest Showman, the first Jumanji movie. They didn't open up to 50 million, but they still were able to be successful because they didn't take as big of a dip as we've seen, $50+ million openings, and they take huge 60% dives, which is why that 3-week window is perfect for them. So it just, I feel like that's very short-sighted, especially when it comes to, not that many movies really making that much amount of money, but you can still find success. It doesn't happen all the time, but there's still that chance that you could have longer success that really matches 45 days, but it's not going to open to 50 million.
No,
it's okay. We built our business model on a 90-day window, so let's just gut the fish.
Yeah.
Instead of
playing
catch and release here.
Like they could have picked 30 million. 30 million would still be a huge blockbuster. 35. Huge blockbuster.
35, 45-day window.
And then you get 10, and then you get the 10 extra days or whatever. 50 to me seems like such a stretch, even in the best of times post-COVID, because people, their habits have changed.
Yep.
I don't know, and I don't want to be pessimistic here, but I don't know if we'll ever see a $50 million opening. Like, that's really out of reach right now.
Maybe a Marvel movie.
Possibly, but we're competing with Disney Plus now.
Yeah.
And those things are going to end up there. And if they take 20% of an opening, that turns a $100 million movie into an $80 million movie. And, that's substantial when it comes to those being able to advertise those numbers.
A lot of those 50s turned into 35s really quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the studios are going to come up to Cinemark and be like, why didn't it make 50 million?
No, they're going to be Cinemark will be going to the studios being like, we should really renegotiate this deal because we're finding that we're just not keeping people in the theater because we only did 21 days.
Yeah.
And they can't possibly be making as much money on the streaming profit share as they would if they had just sold concessions in their theater. Like, they get to keep the concession profit. Yep. They don't get to keep anything in streaming. So very, very little.
And if they pretend that they pay the same film rental as independently owned theaters, they're kidding themselves.
Yeah.
If they're trying to be we're just trying to do this for the good of the industry. No. Whatever you're paying in film rental, they're paying less. And in some cases, it's a lot less.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just a way. I don't even know how long this deal will be. I'm really hoping this is like, I'm gonna be optimistic and hope that this is like a 2-year deal, but there's no way.
There's no way
It's probably not that. But
try to claw it back. Try to claw back windowing after the debacle that this is gonna be.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, this was your opportunity to. You could always cut down the window further. You can never add to it, and they've just really fucked up by going down.
The gall of them.
Yeah, assholes.
Yeah, so it really was a miserable morning just reading that news because, again, we were in such a good place to where there was a fair compromise.
We were thinking,
and then Cinemark, they're saying that they're helping the theater industry, but they're not.
No, and you know what it was in that article we read? I think it was a Deadline article.
I saw it on Variety, but it's probably on all the
Or maybe it was on Variety. There was one line that said where the guy said, "Oh, we negotiated a deal that was mutually beneficial to both parties," and I was like, "Yeah, that is read between the lines. That's profit share, and and nobody else gets to be a part of that, and so you just screw the industry for what I think is going to be declining returns."
Yeah, you saved yourself now, but not the industry. And doesn't that hurt you since you're part of the industry?
In the long run, yeah.
Yeah.
But then they just had to announce that they lost like $200 million because their stock price went down. So I'm like, good. Good.
All right. Well, we're hoping everybody has a big grossing weekend with Wrath of Man. I'm going to take Codi home and give her a white wine and a warm blanket. get her back to center.
Take a sip of your Mountain Dew, Codi. Yes, more energy, actually. That would work.
Keep her from dropping F-bombs on the way to pick kids up from school.
Yeah, don't listen to this in the car when you're picking up the kids, folks.
No, I can't wait to talk to the kids because they had their fun run, which is a charity event where they had to run laps, and one of our sons hit his lap run total that he wanted to, but we didn't got to find out what the other other boy did, but they're going to be so pumped
Somewhere
and
be-
exhausted.
Somewhere between 17 and 27.
Yeah.
We couldn't tell from the excitement that he had in his voice.
Yeah.
So it's not much of a range, except for mom and dad may have put too big of a number on the envelope. So I'm hoping for 27. Fingers crossed for us,
boy.
folks.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking
You're
of
hoping for 27? I'm hoping for 17.
Or 17, excuse me. Hoping for 17.
Just act like
Come
we have all this
on,
money to
17.
spend. Cinemark's screwing us.
by the way,
We got to batten down the hatches.
speaking of parents, Mom, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry about all the swear words.
Sorry,
We'll make up for
Kyle's
it.
mom.
Or Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, so upset. Sorry.
Whoops.
Sorry, mommies out there. I'm a mommy. I know. I got a potty mouth.
It'll be okay.
Quick, somebody else say a bad word. So it's
Well,
not
you know
just
I
me.
can't. Ken, you're up.
Kyle, I swear I heard you say that earlier.
Maybe one did slip.
There you go, Kyle's
Gotcha.
mom.
All right, Kyle, I just want you to put a 5-second long beep here.
Did we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just getting that out of my system.
Ooh, don't you feel better?
I have such a good partner.
All right. Kyle, send us off.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Off the Break podcast. You can find us on all podcast platforms and over at silverscreeninsider.com, to where if you're a theater needing marketing materials for all the upcoming films that are now being released here soon, you can check us out at that website and download all the assets you will need.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend.
Happy Mother's Day. Buy flowers for mommy.
Bye.